It's your girl Zoe D Speaks, bringing you a dose of spiritual reality. This was supposed to be a live, and I really wanted to interact, but at the same time, I really wanted something that was going to go across all my social media platforms because this word blessed me. And so I just want to share with you guys really, really quick. I am reading in Exodus, and a lot of times when I'm studying the word, I'll jump from New Testament to Old Testament. I'll jump from different books of the Bible. I've never consecutively read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation because I guess depending on the season of my life, it's just like I just go where I feel like that life. And so I'm reading in Exodus and I'm on chapter 4, right? And so chapter 4 just dropped bombs on me. So I want to come and share a few of those bombs. I'm so nervous and excited right now because this word blessed me. So if you have never read Exodus, Exodus is the book of Moses, and it talks about how Moses went from Pharaoh's house to the wilderness and back to Egypt to save the children of Israel. And so the first thing that I'm going to jump into, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this leads into a whole nother conversation, but it's Exodus 4 and 6 when it talks about how Moses was standing before the bush, the burning bush, and God told him to put his hand inside of his coat, and his hand turned lepers, and it says lepers as white as snow. And that is a very heavy detail, small but heavy, because mainstream media has not portrayed that correctly, but I'm not going to go into that because that's not the purpose of this video. Secondly, the second thing that I noticed in verse 4, chapter 4 verse 14, it says, so this is God, and he's talking to Moses, and he's telling Moses, I'm sending you out. I'm sending you back to the children of Israel to let them know that I've heard their cry. And so it says, I'm going to go back to verse 12. It says, now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth and teach thee what thou should say. So I'm going to tell you what to say. Just go. And he said, oh my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And so this is pretty much the second time that Moses has kind of said, no, don't send me. And so God, he says, Yahweh says, and the anger of the Lord, the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Moses. And he said, is Aaron the Levite thy brother? Not Aaron the Levite thy brother. I know that he can speak well, and also behold, he cometh forth to meet thee, and when he see thee, he will be glad in his heart. So in other words, Moses is saying, send somebody else. And he must have brought up Aaron. He said, send my brother, send someone that can talk better than me. But what I took attention to, it says, the anger of Yahweh kindled. And I want to dispel this thing where we like to say, God's not mad, God's all, butterflies and sunshine. And God, yes, Yahweh, I think he loves us severely, but at the same time, he has given all of us a purpose on this earth. And when we step out of that obedience of that purpose, you're not going to tell me that God's just going to pat you on the back and say, oh, well, it's okay. Because it's not. Because your purpose is attached to so many other souls. And so I had to look at my own purpose and what I've been called to do. And I just had to really say, stop playing. He's already told me that I'm supposed to speak. He's already told me that he sent me out. He's already told me before I was sent out that I was being raised up to be sent out. And I've said several times, Lord, send somebody else. Let me give somebody else this vision. Let me do something else besides what you have called me to do. And I had the experience of the fire God tell me, do what I asked you to do. So I think it's very important to acknowledge that God has created you for a purpose. He's created you, whether your mandate is as heavy as mine or not, you have a purpose. And so live in that purpose. Seek God for that purpose. Seek him for the will that he's already designed for your life, because he's serious about the reason that you are on this earth for such a time as this. So not only, another thing that kind of jumped out at me was he said that he was sending Aaron. And a lot of times I think that we see the vision that God gives us and we're thinking, this is too much. Many times your vision will be greater than you. The vision that God showed me for a call to purity in 2011, 2012, I said, oh my God, like, wow. I can't do that. Seriously. And I still sometimes am like, wow, I can't do that. And so he sent Aaron. He didn't send a whole flock of people. He sent one person with him. And I think that's important to note, that God doesn't, whatever he's called you to do, you can have 50 or 5 or 1. If God has mandated you to do something, he's going to make sure that you have the resources. He's going to make sure that you have the support. And a lot of what I do, I felt that whole nobody supports. But really, people that are commanded to support, a call to purity, and everything else that I put my hands on, they will support it. Which brings me back to something that I skipped. Verse 2. Let's go to verse 1. This is very, very important because it was the first thing that actually jumped out to me. It says, verse 1, and Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe, nor hearken unto my voice. I've said that so many times, Lord, these people do not want to hear what I have to say. And it said, the Lord, they will not, for they will say that the Lord had not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, Yahweh said unto him, what is that in thine hand? And he said, a rod. And the Lord said, cast it onto the ground. And so Moses cast it onto the ground, and it became a serpent. So basically, Yahweh was showing Moses everything that he was going to do. And Yahweh was showing Moses that whatever I've placed in your hand, I will multiply it. And my pastor, Ruben Lewis, has a book out right now called You Can Win with Any Hand. And it goes through, it's 5 short practical chapters, but it goes through every single, or I'm not going to say every single, but it goes through very practical examples, biblical figures who God just used what was in their hand. And Moses was one of those. What's in your hand? In other words, you're waiting for X, Y, and Z, and you're totally just disregarding what I've already placed in your hand. Do you think it was by chance that Moses had a rod in his hand? Who placed that there? I no longer think it's by chance that I have a gift of organization. I have a gift of coaching. I have a gift of speaking and teaching. I have a gift of writing. I don't think that's by chance anymore. And every single thing that God has placed in my hand, I've been able to live off of that in one way or another. So what's in your hand? And if you have not read this book, You Can Win with Any Hand, it is so inspirational. It is literary ministry. Go to our website, witnesslegend.com. Go to books and publishing. Click on that tab, books and publishing, and you will see that book, and it'll take you straight to ordering that. But please, just know, whatever God has placed in your hand is what you can win with. Moses said, I don't have anything. What am I supposed to go and say to them? And the Lord said, what's in your hand? What have I already given you? That is such a phenomenal thing, because a lot of times we think that we're missing something, and we're not. God's saying, whatever I have commanded you to do, I've already given you the resources to do it within yourself. And any help that you need, God knew that Moses was going to need some help. Come on now. But he said, I've already made provision for that too. I just need you to go. I just need you to go. I need you to be obedient and go. Am I talking to anybody except for myself? Okay. And so skip down to verse 21, and I'm really almost done, I believe. I kind of underlined some things. And the Lord said unto Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh. He says, see, I'm about to do all these wonders before Pharaoh through you. We like to blame Yahweh for things going so wrong and so off in this world, but we have been given the power to make the difference in this world that we need to see. And he said, but I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus said the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. Y'all gotta realize we have to realize we don't serve a weak Lord. And we have to realize that one of the purposes that we've been created in is to serve him, to worship him, to live for him. So many times, and one of the things I really paid in particular, something that stood out, Moses knew that Pharaoh wasn't going to let the people go. Many times, Yahweh will use our enemies to show his power. That is a wonderful thing for you, because you got to either trust him or not trust him. You got to either know that all things are going to work together for your good, or you don't know what you're going to do. You got to know that God's going to supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory, or I got to figure out a way to make this work out. You cannot be operating in faith and operating in doubt at the same time. The two are total opposite. They're like night and day. If I turn this light off, you'll see a little light peeking through from my bedroom, but it's totally opposite. And so I say all that to say, Moses had to make a decision whether he was going to believe that God was going to use him to deliver the children of Israel. But God showed him. I can recall so many times Yahweh showed me things that were going to happen before they happened. And it wasn't so much as to make me fear, but it was to really show me like, okay, you're about to go through this, but don't worry about it. I got you. And so many times God will use the enemy to show his power for your enemies and for you. I'm sorry. If Pharaoh would have said, yes, y'all can go, the book of Exodus would not exist. We would not be able to know that Yahweh is the Lord that can give a man power to part the Red Sea. We would know that Yahweh is the Lord to feed the children of Israel manna by day and quail. We wouldn't know all of the miracles and signs and wonders that Yahweh did in that season. So many times, and I've grown to know this along my journey, many times your most desperate times, your oh Lord times, are times where God gets to show you exactly who he is. Don't despise those times. The word says rejoice. Rejoice always, because once again, you have to know that things are working out for your good. And so as I studied this book of Exodus, I just really had to share. I've just made it, a commitment, a recommitment to just get back and do what the Holy Spirit has designed me to do, regardless of if I can come back before you, I'll glam it up or not. I have too much going on to be trying to dress up every day for a video. I just, and I know all that is important to branding, as I've been told. But look, I didn't come to be popular. I came to deliver messages. I came to deliver the heart of God. I came to deliver grace and mercy and speak healing to a hurting generation. So I'm just going to be real with that. And I hope that what I can deliver you is enough. That goes beyond superficial things. So if you have not read the book of Exodus and the Holy Spirit leads you to that, I encourage you to read this along with me. I'll be sharing some revelations and things as I get them. But this blessed me. This gave me so much life today. So I just wanted to share that with you. So once again, I'm Zoe D, giving you a dose of spiritual reality straight from the Book of Truth. No left or no right. You can follow me here, of course, on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, you can also follow me on Instagram, Zoe D Speaks, on Twitter, Zoe D Speaks. I have a YouTube channel. You can just Google me, Zoe D Speaks. I don't have enough followers to have my own channel just yet. But all things Zoe D Speaks. You guys have a wonderful day, evening, late night, whenever you get to watch this. I just hope that this word has blessed your soul and encouraged you to be prosperous in the name of Yahweh. Love y'all.